There is, quote, no such thing as absolute privacy in America. Great. That anti-liberty screed, not from some online commie crackpot, but from our FBI Director, James Comey. In a cybersecurity conference yesterday at Boston College, America's top cop went on to say, quote, even our communications with our spouses, with our clergy members, with our attorneys are not absolutely private in America. And he added that a judge can compel anybody to testify about our most private and personal communications. And while he may be speaking from a purely legal standpoint, is this really the direction our nation should be going? Where we can't even talk to a priest without worrying about the feds. Thanks, Director Comey. Molly Hemingway joins me. She's the senior editor at The Federalist. And it appears as though our FBI director has forgotten about the concept of federalism. Molly, welcome.
It's great to be here.
So, Molly, should we be worried about privacy and its total sacrifice at the altar of so-called security?
Absolutely. And, you know, he said that we don't have an expectation of absolute privacy, which is why you do want to make sure that when you're talking to a spouse or a priest or an attorney, that they're willing to keep your secrets safe, even if they're compelled to testify by a judge. You know, are they willing to go to jail? But much worse than that is just that we don't have much of an expectation of privacy in general.
Yeah.
We have accepted this surveillance state that operates at the local, state, and federal level, whether it's traffic cameras or red light cameras, or NSA picking up metadata on millions of Americans.
Or the FBI reading essentially every email transmission that comes in and out of this country.
Right, and we don't have a good understanding in our country of what type of accountability there is for this. The distance between the people and the government is ever greater, and it looks like even when you switch presidential administrations, there's this sort of secretive bureaucracy that continues, that is more powerful and doesn't really feel the need to be transparent about what it's doing.
No, and you had a great quote here. You said you used to hear people say, hey, do what you want. It's a free country, and no one says that anymore.
It makes me sad. I heard this all the time when I was growing up. You know, you'd see someone doing something that you wouldn't do, or that, you know, a family that was operating differently than yours, and you'd be told it's a free country, people can do what they want.
Yeah.
That is not happening anymore. I mean, you don't hear that statement or that sentiment or that general way of life, and it's so tied into who we are as Americans, this idea that we do get to live our lives how we want without oppression from the government. It's fading, and I think we should be very careful about what that means for us as a people.
And I think the implication here from the FBI director is, yeah, there's no such thing as absolute privacy, therefore you shouldn't expect any privacy. It seems like that's the next step for him, and we're losing quite a few hops in the middle, and that is not okay. People should not give up the fight for privacy and the freedom that is implied in it.
Right, and the government needs to make a case if it's going to restrict this fundamental human liberty about having this right to exist with other people without the government spying on you. And it seems more and more that it's just de facto assumed that they have the right to take, you know, have access to your TV, your home, your, you know, everything about you, knowing who you are, where you're traveling, who you're calling, why you're calling. That is scary. I mean, that's the stuff that dystopic fiction is written about, and it's happening in this country, and we should be on guard.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. It's becoming nonfiction, and it's scary, and people can't give up the good fight, even when, you know, the top law enforcement guy in the country says that, maybe you should. Molly, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love your writing, as always.
Thanks.
Coming up, here's a riddle for all libertarians. Would you support big government if it meant saving humanity? According to Stephen Hawking, we may not have a choice. And it all has to do with killer robots. I will ask Dr. Ron Paul what he thinks is around the next corner. It's a fascinating discussion. Stick around for it.